Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. Today we are going through 1 Kings chapter 10 and 11, and also 2 Chronicles chapter 9. Tomorrow we're going to go through Proverbs 30 and Proverbs 31. I have been waiting all year long to get through Proverbs 30 and 31. But today, 1 Kings chapter 10 and 11 and 2 Chronicles 9. Now in 2 Chronicles 9, it talks about the Queen of Sheba, Solomon's wealth, and Solomon's death. Now over in 1 Kings chapter 10 and 11, it talks about the Queen of Sheba and Solomon's wealth, but then it gets into a little more detail about Solomon's unfaithfulness to God, and also Solomon's enemies, some of the enemies that he made as he had turned away from God. And those that were, God was basically sending to attack him. And then, of course, his death, when it's all said and done, and how his son Rehoboam became the king in his place. I guess today's focus really is on the Queen of Sheba from my perspective, and then, of course, his falling away and his death. So the Queen of Sheba, this character, she was this African queen. And people ask right off the bat, where in the world is this Sheba place? Well, most scholars say that this was the ancient kingdom of Saba, which was located in what is today Yemen at the southern tip of the Arabian Peninsula. Now, there's other people that claim that, no, that's not true. This was actually an Ethiopian princess. Well, regardless of where she came from, she was an interesting character, to say the least. She was in search of wisdom, apparently. So she came to quiz Solomon and ask him many difficult questions and present many riddles to him to see if he could solve them. And of course, she spoke these riddles and said everything that was on her mind. And Solomon answered all of her questions, and she was crazy impressed. She was like, nothing's too difficult for this dude. So she said, well, what I hear is true. Your wisdom is true, and you are super smart, and you're very wise. So I've come to the right place. And basically, she gives the king 4.5 tons of gold, a great quantity of spices, and precious stones. But one thing that intrigued me was how they left this story so open-ended. Verse 12 of 2 Chronicles, which matches verse 13 in 1 Kings chapter 10, it says, King Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba her every desire, whatever she asked, far more than she had brought the king. Then she, along with her servants, returned to her own country. Now, as you read through this, you would assume that this happened within a day or two, but many stories establish that this happened over a 6-month period, that she was quizzing him over a 6-month time frame. So it was a lot of time. It wasn't just an overnight adventure. Again, along with her, she is mentioned in the Quran. She's mentioned in many different writings, mostly literary writings, not historical writings, but literary writings. Like I said, she it was even rumored that her and Solomon had this deal going, and that Solomon wins this deal, and then they ended up being intimate overnight, sleeping together, and then when the Queen of Sheba went back home, she had a baby, and the baby was named Menelik, and he was apparently the son of Solomon, who took over as a king there in Ethiopia and began the Ethiopian Solomonic dynasty, ruling dynasty, which apparently existed until the downfall of the Haile Selassie I in 1974. I don't know how you can substantiate that, document it. There's not really any documentation of this, but that's the lore, that's the mythology behind that dynasty, that Solomonic ruling dynasty in Ethiopia, apparently. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you think? There's a lot of questions about the Queen of Sheba that pop up, just question after question, and this leaves you with a lot of questions. Now, I did find it interesting that on Solomon's wealth, how he handled all of this gold and silver and stuff. A lot of things he did is like he made shields out of it. He would hang them on the walls around. So instead of storing all this gold just in a big lump sum or in bricks, laying around that he had to guard, he would display it right there in front of everybody. So it'd be on display. So if he ever needed, he was quick access. Yeah, just take a couple shields off the wall there and melt them down and make the gold we need to buy stuff with. He made tons and tons of drinking cups and things that were usable. And then, of course, when he needed something monetary, he would use those things as, there's your money. And then, of course, when he died, his son Rehoboam became the king in his place. So what do you think? I did skip around. I did focus solely on Sheba and his wealth and his death. What about those things in the middle? What do you think about that other stuff? What do you think about his falling away and him having over 700 wives and not understanding women very well? What do you think about that? What stood out to you? I hope this has touched you. If it has, click the like button and the subscribe button. Of course, click the little jingle bell so you can get notified the next time I upload a video, which will be tomorrow, for another episode of the Bible in 1 Year with the Preacher's Husband. I hope to see you then. Peace.